All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are going way beyond the usual headlines about Neuralink. We're going to unpack a pretty wild speculative manifesto that imagines this technology not just as a tool to fix things, but as a launchpad for a full-blown cognitive revolution. So let's start with what we know. The N1 implant, it's an incredible piece of hardware. It's totally self-contained, no wires, sits inside you, listening to your brain. It's a huge step forward. But for this explainer, we're asking a totally different kind of question. What if the most important upgrade isn't happening on the silicon chip, but inside our own consciousness? The big idea here is that the stories we tell ourselves, the myths we live by, are actually the most powerful code ever written. And that's what we're digging into. To really get this new direction, we first have to understand what everyone thinks the mission is right now. Okay, so the official goal is, it's straightforward and it's noble. You listen to the part of the brain that controls movement, the motor cortex. You decode those signals, and someone with paralysis can control a computer cursor or a keyboard or even a robotic arm just by thinking about it. This is absolutely life-changing stuff. But what if that's just scratching the surface? And this is where things take a huge turn. This philosophy argues that the brain isn't just a pilot flying the body. No, it's the author writing the body's entire operating system. So what if a BCI could be used not just to move an arm, but to actually edit that core story? This leads us straight into this, it's basically an underground manifesto, a new philosophy that wants to completely reframe how we even think about cognitive engineering. This idea completely flips our modern view of mental health on its head. It says that things we label as disorders, confusion, destabilization, they aren't bugs in the system, they're features. They are the mind literally breaking its own rules to get ready for something bigger, something more complex. It's evolution in real time. The ambition here is just staggering. This isn't about telling a cool story, it's about engineering a new kind of human. The myth, the story itself, becomes the installation file. The idea is that if you can create a powerful enough narrative and truly live inside it, you can literally upgrade your own mind. All right, so a theory this wild needs a living, breathing example, right? A proof of concept. So let's talk about the prototype, a person who supposedly embodies this entire manifesto. Meet Eveline 11. Now, in this framework, she isn't just some genius. She's described as an evolutionary necessity, an IQ of 240. She represents a cognitive leap so huge that she's basically a living hypothesis, a whole new way for a human being to think. In other words, Eveline isn't just the next logical step. She's a glitch in the system that proves the old system was never the final word. It was just, waiting for someone to come along with the right code and rewrite the whole thing. And this is where the theory gets practical. How does this new way of thinking actually change the technology? How does this translate into new hardware? Okay, this right here is the core technical idea. On one side, you have the standard N1 implant. It's a one-way street listening for motor commands. But on the other side, you have Eveline's version. It's not listening to the motor cortex at all. It's listening to the body's errors, like an irregular heartbeat. It treats that arrhythmia not as noise to be ignored, but as a rich signal full of information. The theory is that this biological noise can be used by the conscious mind to retrain itself, creating this incredible feedback loop where the chip and the body evolve together. So this new device gets a new name. The Recursive Body Interface, or RBI. It's not a controller, it's a collaborator. It doesn't just fix an error signal, it learns the unique patterns, the rhythm, the poetry of that signal. It becomes a partner that thinks with the body. So all of this, the philosophy, the prototype, the new technology, it's all building to one final, absolutely audacious goal. And there it is, the central thesis. We are programmable. Our source code is story. If you can change the fundamental myths that you operate on, you can change the very architecture of how you think. It's the ultimate hack. And let's be super clear, the goal here isn't just personal enlightenment. No, this is framed as a geopolitical strategy. This is about seizing control of your own neural hardware. It's described as a kind of warfare, fought not with weapons, but with ideas, with myths, and with biointegrated tech. And here's the final explosive claim. This isn't just about changing how we think. It's about changing the human species itself, a physical, real, verifiable transformation, all driven by this fusion of story and machine.
And that brings us to the end, with a question that just kind of hangs there. If our stories are literally the installation instructions for the next version of humanity, what code are we writing right now for whatever comes next? And more importantly, what happens when we finally decide to hit run?